watching The Good Word, and it's that time in the show when we bring on a special guest to talk about a favourite book. He's one of New Zealand's most distinctive and well-loved painters, and the author too of a highly entertaining, best-selling autobiography. I'm really delighted to welcome Dick Frizzell. Hi, Dick.
G'day, Emily.
Nice to see you.
Likewise.
Take a seat.
Yeah.
Hey, so thanks for coming on the show, and tell us what you brought along to talk about.
Kurt Vonnegut's masterpiece, The Sirens of Titan.
And why do you say this is a masterpiece?
Because the bloke on the... No.
The bloke on the back does.
Well, just in my opinion. Yeah,
right.
yeah. It's the one that resonated for me, you know.
What was your first sort of reading of the book?
It was the first time I'd read such an easy, or, you know, constructive philosophy, if you like, disguised as a science fiction book. That was what I thought was interesting about it. Being a fan of science fiction, but actually, because I was discovering that novels could be philosophical at the time, and this one was sort of spot on with all that
Tell us a bit about the story, because it's quite crazy. It's
pretty crazy. You know, when I was reading it, I was thinking, gee, this is pretty bonkers, you know, really. And I was thinking, oh, Emily's reading it as well.
Oh,
you know?
no, I'm a real Kurt Vonnegut fan, actually, but
yeah.
This is one I hadn't read before.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
No, it's the idea that the sum total of, you know, human history is just being a construct by this alien race to pass a message on to a stranded member of their own race on a moon, on Titan, yeah. And it was such an original idea, and and it's all about coincidence. You know, like that spare part being that lucky bit of metal that they had to send that across to get the flying saucer flying again and everything else. Yeah. It was just. So original, you know, so weird.
And there's this philosophy behind it of the idea of an indifferent kind of God as well, isn't there?
Yeah, the Church of God, the utterly indifferent. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I absolutely love that. Like, as I said, having it both ways, having God, but who's completely indifferent. I thought, yes,
yeah,
you know, it suits me fine. And the writing, the way he wrote it too, you know, that I love what Vonnegut nailed was sort of a yo-ho-ho kind of ad hoc sloppiness that was obviously carefully constructed. You know, that punky... Because I mean, he was probably a young author then, and he was almost inventing new journalism before it was actually... You know, he got there pretty early.
It's a really fresh, direct style, and he does that thing which you see a lot now of invented encyclopedia entries.
Absolutely,
and, you know, this is back in the 1950s.
I know. It was very pop. I mean, utterly sort of pop cultural novel. You know. Do
you think that kind of writing's been an influence on your own style, because yours is extremely conversational and comes right off the page?
Well, I'd say all my writing heroes, like Vonnegut especially, and you know, Tom Wolfe and the new journalism and oh God, names I'm sure I've forgotten. I have. I mean, it makes me sound like a studied author, but I have been influenced. I did want it to sound like that.
Yeah, well, I think if you've got a lifetime of reading these things, they're bound to influence the style.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I do write. You know, I keep a regular journal, so I do write. You know what I mean? And I didn't mean to write the book, to be honest. I was just writing bullet points for Hamish Keith to go on, and then they started joining up. And
oh, that's good. I'm going to try that.
Well, I thought no one else knows about Mum, and no one knows who's going to write all that, you know.
Oh, really, that's so interesting. So it's like these little brief.
Well, and they're all rehearsed little legends, family myths, and things that I polished all up, and I just joined them up. And you know, my favourite thing about the Vonnegut, about writing a work of non-fiction. You have to make up a hell of a lot of stuff to make it sound like non-fiction, don't you, really?
OK. I don't know, I've never written non-fiction.
Oh, well, you ought to try it, because most of it's fictional.
That's great. Well, that's interesting, given that in the Vonnegut, you know, he uses so much of the fiction to create a kind of non-fiction
he sure does.
Impression. Yeah, that's very interesting. And it's obviously an influence on writers like Douglas Adams. And,
absolutely.
You know, as well as your good self.
It's that sort of disrespectful kind of... cleverness, you know.
Yeah. Did it seem to you, as a young man reading it for the first time, that this was something really new? I mean, how is it read when you've continued reading?
I have. That's why I bought it along. That's why I wanted it to be my choice, because it's one of the few books that I have over the years reread and have been astonished that as my own philosophy's evolved, the book's evolved with it. It's had a different a density of meaning or, you know, different layers of construction to reveal themselves as you get, you know, not wiser necessarily, but your ideas evolve, you know.
Bring more to it. Well, that's the mark
you
of
know.
a really great book, I think. So thank you for bringing that on. Dick Frizzell's favourite book was Sirens of Titan by Kurt Vonnegut, published by Dial Press. And now we're off to visit a real-life book club.
I love reading books. Absolutely love reading books. I read all sorts of books. And then I swap lots of books with lots of my friends and thought, well, I swap lots of books with my friends, and my friends and I like reading. I want to be in a book group. There was a girl in a coffee group and I thought, I want to be in her one, but she never asked me, so I thought, okay, well. You know, you drop enough hints, you hope that one day someone might go, oh, would you like to join a book group? And I didn't. I thought, oh, thank you, they're right. No, I didn't even, I just thought, okay, well, I'll just set my own up. How hard is it, you know? It's just a great way, a legitimate way of talking about books. Reading different types of book. It's like watching a, you know, it could be Desperate Housewives or Greys. In fact, it often is that as well. But it starts off with books, and that's good.
A lot of emotional women. It's frightening when you don't know a lot of these women when you started off coming to the book group. We've had tears, we've had, you know, fighting, and we've had...
We have to have a break halfway through just to cool down.
Yeah, we have time out.
We have to almost drag ourselves back, don't we? And go, oh, hang on, someone focus, and it's your turn.
That's why we've got rules.
Yeah, there's a new rule made every week, every month. Yes, new rule. What's it this week?
This month.
This month, I mean.
No, it's okay to have a TV crew at book group.
The first time males have been in a room.
True.
Yes. Once somebody's husband sent along the notes.
Oh,
Sada. He's the only man to read
Yes, because
the
and you know, I didn't want to read the Boston
they
Strangler.
were fabulous.
And it
though,
was
the
on my
notes.
bedside, and he says, this sounds like a very interesting book. And so he picked up the Boston Strangler and he read it. And I said, well, now you're going to have to you're going to have to read the book. And so he wrote a few notes.
Fabulous.
I have never not finished a book, and I think it's partly a girly swat thing, partly I don't want to miss out on conversation and people talk about the very end of the book and me to feel like I sort of didn't quite get it.
I can't bear not finishing a book, and I can't bear reading a book again.
Me too. Well, I found it very liberating to say, I hate this book and I'm not going to finish it.
There are some people that don't finish all the
I'd have
books.
to say I'm probably the worst.
You think you are?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I am. Yeah.
Because
You've got the most social life.
Yeah.
I wish.
Fair,
No, I think because I went through a period last year where I was either too busy or I had too much on my mind.
And did you have a new lover?
No, he's not that new. No, he moved in though.
Yeah,
he moved in.
That
made it a It's not new anymore.
Other things to do when you get to bed. I mean, hello. You think about where we read. Probably all of us read at bed. So it's a choice between,
Yeah.
It's a sort of time in our lives. So if there was no book, I would still turn up. Absolutely.
And I've got a point.
It's not about the book. No, it's not about the book. But the book's great.
After the break, Finlay MacDonald investigates the story behind another well-known New Zealand book.